In this lesson, we're going to review how to evaluate and how to write variable expressions. Let's take just a minute and review some vocabulary. Number one, a variable is a letter that's used to represent any unknown number. Often in algebra we use X, but you can use any letter that you choose. Two, a variable expression. This is a math sentence made up of numbers, letters, and symbols. So an example of a variable expression would be 5x plus 2. You see numbers, you see a variable, and you see symbols. 3, evaluate. Evaluate is just another word that means solve. It means answer the problem. And number 4, a numeric expression is a math sentence made up of just numbers and symbols. So for example, 3 times 4. That is a numeric expression. Okay, let's move on. Sometimes you will be asked to write variable expressions. Before we get into how do I write them, I want you to begin to brainstorm for a minute about some words that you have heard before that communicate things like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. For example, when you hear the word sum, I keep forgetting to use my pen tool. When you hear the word sum, that communicates that you're going to add two numbers together and get an answer. I want you to pause the video and I want you to brainstorm for the next minute or two. What other words can you think of that you could fill into this chart? Take a minute or two and see what you can come up with. Okay, if you've taken some time and come up with a list, let's go ahead to the next page and let's look at a filled-in list. These are some key words that we want to become very familiar with. We want to be confident when we hear a phrase like decreased by, that means we're supposed to write a subtraction sign. We want to become confident that when we hear the word twice or times or double, that means multiplication. When we hear the words the quantity of, that means parentheses. So keep these words handy. Know that you can refer back to these as we go on through this lesson, but even as we move ahead in this unit. The directions here say translate the verbal phrase. That means translate these written words into a variable expression. So we're going to take these written simple sentences and translate them into variable expressions. Now remember, variable expression was one of our vocabulary words. That simply means a math sentence with numbers, letters, and operations or symbols. So let's read sentence number 1. The sum of a number y and 20. What's our key word in that sentence? Remember the chart we just looked at? The word sum, meaning that we're going to add something. Okay, let's read the sentence. What are we supposed to add? Well, it says we're supposed to add a number y, that means an unknown number, and 20. So our variable expression is going to be y plus 20. Let's look at sentence 2. 6 more than twice a number y. I hear two key words in that. 6 more than twice a number y. Let's think about the key words we hear in there. I heard the words more than, communicating addition, but then I also heard the word twice. If you do something twice, that means you do something 2 times. Okay, so let's come up with our variable expression. It says twice a number y. That means 2 times y. And in algebra, when we multiply a number and a letter, we just write them next to each other. We don't need a times symbol. And then it says 6 more than twice the number y. So that means we're going to add 6 to that 2 times y. Number 3, the difference of 8 and a number y. Do you hear that key word? Difference. Difference means subtraction. Now we got to think carefully when we subtract. Order is important. It says the difference of 8 and a number y. That means 8 minus y. Now, I want you to pause the video and I want you to read 4, 5, and 6. What are the key words that you hear? And then I want you to try to write those variable expressions. Okay, so in number 4, hopefully you notice the word divided by. So we're going to have a division problem. It says 9 divided by y. You could have also written that as 9 divided by y. Oftentimes in algebra we are going to use the fraction symbol for division rather than the divided by sign. Okay, sentence number 5. The product of a number y and 20. I hear that key word product, meaning multiply. What are we supposed to multiply? A number y and 20. You may have written y times 20. However, I want to challenge you that in algebra, when we multiply a number and a letter, we start with the number first and letter second. So we should write it like this, 20y. That means 20 times y. Last one, number 6. 2 less than a number y. Less than means subtraction. 2 less than a number y. Some of you may have been tempted to write 2 minus y. However, if you really stop and think, it says 2 less than y. That means we start with y and we take away 2 from y. If it helps you, let's substitute some numbers in there for just a minute. Let's say 2 less than 10. If I asked you what's 2 less than 10, most of you would say 8. And the way that you get that is you think 10 take away 2. If you look at the sentence in number 6, 2 less than y, it makes sense then that it must be y minus 2. Okay, let's move. We're going to evaluate expressions here. When we evaluate an expression, that means that we are going to plug in whatever value that we are given for a variable. So for example, in these variable expressions, we're going to assume that a has a value of 12 and b has a value of 3. Let's take a look at example 3. It says 9 times a. Well, we know that a is 12, so we're going to take the a out, we're going to put a parentheses where a used to be, and we're going to substitute the number 12 in its place. And then we're going to evaluate. Remember, evaluate? That was a vocabulary word at the beginning of the lesson that we said simply means solve. So we're going to multiply 9 times 12. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So once we evaluate, we get an answer of 108. Number 4, a times b. A stands for 12. Again, notice I use parentheses to take the place of a. I'm going to also use parentheses to take the place of b. b is 3. Now let's solve it. 12 times 3 is 36. Number 5, it says b. Let's substitute the value of 3 in place of b. And then we have another parentheses. We have a minus 6. Now let's think for a minute about the order of operations. We do parentheses first. Well, which parentheses do we start in? We can only start in this parentheses because that parentheses actually has a problem inside of it to solve. So 12 minus 6 is 6. Now we're left with 3 times 6, which equals 18. Number 6. I want you to pause the video and I want you to plug in your numbers for a and b and solve, and then come back and check it with me. Okay, in this problem, I've substituted my numbers for a and b. Anytime we have a division problem, we're going to work the numerator, the top of the division problem first. We're going to work the denominator, the bottom of the division problem second, and then the last and final step will actually be the division. So, beginning in the top, 6 times 12 is 72. Moving to the denominator, 12 minus 3 is 9. The last step will be the division. 72 divided by 9 is 8. Now, let's look at how we might write an expression from a word problem. It says a plant is 14 inches tall. So it's currently 14 inches tall. It grows 4 inches every year. So every year that the plant is in existence, it grows another 4 years. Another 4 inches. Write a variable expression to show the height of the plant in X years. So we know the plant grows 4 inches every year. So in the next year, it would grow 4 inches. In the next 2 years, it would grow 8, right? 4 plus 4. In the next 3 years, it would grow 4 plus 4 plus 4. It'd grow 12 inches. What this question is asking is, what will the height be after X years? In other words, we don't know. Let's write our variable expression. Remember, a variable expression contains a number, a letter, and a symbol. Okay? If the plant grows 4 inches every year, it would grow 4 inches times whatever X is, plus it's currently 14 inches tall. Example 2. Dolphins can swim at a rate of 18 miles per hour. Write an expression to show the distance a dolphin travels in Y hours. Again, let's just think. If I asked you how far the dolphin could swim in 3 hours, you would multiply 18 times 3. If I asked you how far the dolphin can swim in 5 hours, you'd multiply 18 times 5. I'm asking you, how far can the dolphin swim in Y hours? Just like we did with the numbers, we would multiply 18 times Y. Again, notice I didn't use a multiplication symbol. I simply put my number next to my letter communicating multiplication. Take a look at these 3 examples. Each one will ask you to write a variable expression for the given word problem. I'd like for you to go ahead and pause the video and try to come up with a variable expression that would fit each of these word problems. Okay, let's think about number 26. It says you watch some 30-minute TV shows and some 60-minute TV shows, and we need to write a variable expression to represent the total. Let's just think. In real life, if you were to watch 3 30-minute shows, you'd multiply 3 times 30. Let's say you watched 5 60-minute TV shows. You'd multiply 5 times 60, and you'd add the 2 together. So let's write a variable expression similar to that. However, we haven't been told it's 3 30-minute shows. We've been told it's X 30-minute shows. So we'll multiply 30 times X. We haven't been told it's 5 60-minute TV shows. We've been told it's Y 60-minute TV shows. So it'll be 60 times Y, and we'll add the 2 together to get our total. 27. You're purchasing CDs from a music club. You have to pay $4 for shipping any number of CDs. So if you order 20 CDs, it costs you $4 to ship them. If you order 5 CDs, it's still $4 for shipping. So we pay our shipping, plus it says we pay $17 per CD. Notice in this example, I'm going at it slightly differently. I'm talking it out, thinking through it, but I've got some words here to help me write my expression. Let's fill in. What does it cost to ship? Well, it says we pay $4, plus we pay $17 per CD. Does it tell us how many CDs we buy? It simply says that we buy N CDs, so it's 17 times N. 4 plus 17N would be our variable expression. Let's take a look at number 28, our last example. Well, let's see, I've got our page all crooked. Let's see if I can fix that. Okay, number 28, it says a 17-inch vine grows 3 inches per week. Write a variable expression to show the length of the vine after W weeks. A 17-inch vine grows 3 inches per week. So the vine is 17 inches tall now, plus it's going to grow Let's come up with our variable expression. If it's currently 17 inches tall, plus it grows 3 inches per week. If it grew for 4 weeks, we'd multiply 3 times 4. If it grew for 10 weeks, we'd multiply 3 for 10. But we're simply told that it grows for W weeks, so we'll multiply 3 times W. Now we have our variable expression. You may have noticed that in number 27, the example in the middle, I skipped the last part. It says, find the cost of 6 CDs. And in number 28, I skipped the last part, estimate the vine's length after 19 weeks. Let's go back and look at that. In number 27, if I'm going to find the cost of 6 CDs, I'm going to use my variable expression. I'm going to take what I've been given and I'm going to plug in 6 in place of n. So I'm going to say 4 plus 17 times 6. 17 times 6. Let's do that multiplication first. 6 times 7 is 42. Carry our 4. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 is 10. So I have 4 plus 102 equals $106. So the cost of 6 CDs is $106. Number 28, it asks us to estimate the vine's length after 19 weeks. So an estimate is just in the ballpark. Instead of using 19, what could I easily multiply by 3? 20. So let's estimate with that. 17 plus 3 times 20. Again, let's multiply first. 3 times 20 is 60 plus 17. The vine's length is going to be around 77 inches tall after growing for 3 weeks.